All right, Team Jellyfish, here we go. You know, this Music Theory Monday thing's been pretty sweet so far. I've been having fun with you guys. Keep those comments coming. Keep that interaction going. Let's help each other with this stuff. But here's what we're gonna do. This is number 5. We're looking at the key of E major. So I'm gonna do some highlighting here. So the key of E. And I got a little bonus section in there on the next page. But let me get through this first. So the things we want to remember are this. The key of E. I want you to know the 4 sharps in every key, okay? So we've been doing those. So if we highlight here, in week 1, we did the key of C, and then we did the key of G, and then we did the key of D, and then we did the key of A. And since we're in the key of E, why do they call this the circle of fifths? Well, we're moving around it in an interval, the distance between 2 notes and a fifth. Now remember, take it easy on yourself because music is a massively never-ending deep language. That's why I think of us as jellyfish drifting around in the sea of guitar. It just doesn't stop. But that's what makes it cool, right? So let's just go to the center of the circle, and then we'll go back up there to the top right, the order of the sharps. So the key of E major, what's that mean? Well, that's just a musical family that belongs together. So if you're like a basic music student or advanced, this is kind of, you want to work everything off of the major scale and build out from there. You have to have a foundation. So if we're in the key of E, the 1, and we'll get to this in a minute, Roman numeral 1 would be the E. The root, the key that we're in, E major. And that's why we call it the circle of fifths, moving here again from E to B. Boom, that is an interval of a fifth. Now there's only 2 notes there. So what can you do with your instrument or your guitar? Well, go find an E and find a B and just play those 2 notes and let it soak into your ears. Everything you do is a cumulative process. That's what making music is. So E to B, I'm still in the center here, I'm writing it now, is a perfect 5th interval. Again, remember when I said learning languages? Okay, some people are going to refer to things as just the 1 chord, the 5 chord, the 4 chord, or some people are going to say E, B, you know. So that's what we're going to work on. So right now, I want you to burn in your brain, E to B is the 5th, okay? You have to have something to work off of. Like you can't just build a house without a foundation. And I'm taking this layer by layer. I'm not using the full-blown chord wheel. There's just too much. But I promise you, you're going to understand all of it. We're just going to keep going here. And I'll fill all of this in with supplemental videos throughout the week that help connect the dots even further. All right, back up to the top right. I'm scribbling in blue. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp are in the key of E major. So my professor in college, I took a couple jazz courses. He gave us this mnemonic device or this acronym, Find Classical Guitarist Demand, but I'm not going to finish it as we move forward. Now, so just burn in your brain, F sharp. If you play an E major scale on the guitar or your instrument, if you played the scale, you would notice that there's F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp in that scale. That's just how it is. Now, really important, on the inside of the wheel, which I'm going to highlight here in green, this right here is the relative minor to the major key that you're in. So for example, since we're in the key of E, the relative minor is C sharp minor. You know when your teacher shows you that first scale in like your first or second week, they're probably showing you that minor pentatonic scale. C sharp minor has the same notes as E major. Now remember the fancy modal names for major. I'll just write it out for you, why not? So we have for major, it's Ionian. And we did this in last week's video, so check that out. And the fancy modal name for the natural minor scale is Aeolian. And people get all confused. Don't even know if I spelled Aeolian right. But they get all confused because they start hearing all the modes and it just twists their brain up, but it doesn't need to. All right, so just to rehash, key of E major. Number 1 thing I want you to burn in your brain, E to B is a perfect 5th. B is the 5th scale degree in the major scale. It's also the 5 chord of that key. What does that mean? Well, let's go to the next page and let's chat. Okay, don't get all confused. I'm going to walk you through this. Now, I've been very consistent with the way I'm color coding everything because this is how I'm going to lay it out on the chord charts. You know, I don't want to, I've learned something really, really important over the years as a teacher of anything. You got to stay consistent. You got to build a consistent language with your students and even for myself. So right here, let's look at this. So if you look at E, go to the highlighter, that's what? That's the root, right? The root is the most important part. So E is the what? It's the 1 chord. So that's why I have the Roman numeral 1 down here. Now I just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 across the top. That's the order of the notes in the major scale. And what do you notice? Do you see all 4 of those sharps in there? Yep, they're all in there. Now let's go over to the 2 chord. Now, you guys that have watched this, you guys know this, whether you're a total beginner or you're the best player in the world that knows everything, but none of us are the best players and none of us know everything. That is written in lowercase Roman numerals, and it's pink because that's the minor chord. So F sharp minor is the minor chord. So if you're hanging out with your buddy in Nashville or a producer in Nashville, and this has happened to me in studio sessions, I've got some friends from Nashville. They talk all about the Nashville numbering system. And all that is if we're in the key of E major, that producer might be like, hey, can you play the 2 chord? And that's why I need to know this. So I don't go, well, what's the 2 chord in the key of E major? You put in the work and you learn it. It's no different than when you're a little kid and you're learning letters in the alphabet. And then you take letters and build words. And then words build sentences. And then sentences build paragraphs. And then paragraphs turn into 1-page stories. You see what I'm saying? That's all music is. So I know F sharp minor is the 2 chord. All right? Now let's just keep going. Why is this one here? This is the minor 3, lowercase. So G sharp minor in the key. So the reason this is cool is because if you're sitting down with your guitar, doesn't matter what color, G sharp minor, you would default to these chords and let your ear do the work. Are these rules meant to be broken? Of course, but that's what I'm going to get down to down the road and help enlighten you on that. But I do have a bonus part. See where it says Mixolydian down here? Stick around. Do not leave because we are going to get to that, all right? Now, what we're going to do is this. We are going to keep going through this. So the 4 and 5 chords are black in their uppercase Roman numerals because why? They're major. They are major chords. So you could grab your guitar and play, if someone says play 1, 4, 5, we're in the key of E, you're going to play E, A, B, okay? So that's what we're going to keep going. And just kind of keep moving it down the line. Then you got the 6 chord and the 7 chord, which is the half diminished, minor 7, flat 5. C sharp minor, again, is probably one of the most important because it is your relative minor. Now, what did we just do on this page? Let's look back. This is the circle of fifths. So we learned that a perfect fifth is E to B. So obviously, our focus for today was that E to B is an interval. The distance between 2 notes is a perfect fifth. Every single one of these notes, one note to a next, is always an interval. They have different names, and I've done videos on the channel too that show you some really cool, like simplified finger picking acoustic style using just intervals, and it sounds amazing. I'm just trying to load up your toolbox and you run with it and create music the way you want to create it. Now stick with me, and then I'm going to hop on the guitar and I'm going to just do a very basic demonstration of this. You know what, heck, we'll go electric today, all right? So look at the bottom. You see the mode right here. Let's highlight that. Look, can I highlight in gray? Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Silver, I guess. So Mixolydian is the 5th. It's a mode of the E major scale, but it's from the 5th degree, which just means from the 5th note. So what's the 5th note? B. So you could play a B Mixolydian scale over like some kind of E major chord progression, right? So this is kind of where you start messing with notes. Now, if you look, I wrote out the Mixolydian mode down below, and what's the very first note it starts on? It starts on B. But what do you notice about all the notes in B Mixolydian and E major? They're exactly the same. I see the 4 sharps. Look, I see C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, G sharp. I'm just not starting on E. I'm starting playing from the B. That's what gives it its flavor. That's where everyone gets confused. They don't realize when you learn all the modes in the key you're in, they're all the same notes just from different starting points, but those different starting points set up the flavor of that little piece of music. Does that make sense? If not, drop it in the comments. Drop any question. Listen, the more comments and questions and interaction, that's what we do with Team Jellyfish, right? We all help each other. So you see, do we see a B, C, and there's, okay, so there we go, there we go. You just write it out, take your major scale, and if you want to figure out Mixolydian, man, I'm all tongue twisted with these modes. You just start on the 5th scale degree, which just means the 5th note, and you just write it out in order. So all you'd have to do is, oh, B, C sharp, D sharp, just loop back around E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. That's it. So again, just to rehash, key of E, from E to B is a perfect 5th. That's why they call this the circle of 5ths. We're just going to keep moving around this wheel. Listen, we got to start somewhere, and I got to help you connect the dots, but you're not going to be able to connect the dots without these foundational pieces of knowledge. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp. Those are all your 4 sharps in the key of E major. Make up your own acronym or mnemonic device, but mine's fine classical guitar. I just know this because I've done it for years, all right? Ionian, it's the fancy modal name for major. Aeolian is the fancy name for the natural minor. Again, on the inside in pink, those are your relative minor keys. And look, I wrote it out in the major scale, same colors, the 2, 3, 6, 7, minor, right? But let's focus mostly on the 2, 3, and 6, and the 1, 4, and 5 in the major scale are major chords. Now, you have to know this foundational part, so later down the road when we start borrowing chords from other keys, or we start playing parallel majors or minors, you're gonna know what that means because you're using all of this as your foundation, all right? So let's do this. I'm gonna hop over to my electric. I'll grab one of those guitars on the wall, and I will just play an E major chord, and then I will go over and play a little piece of a B Mixolydian mode or scale. Scales are modes. Some people disagree, but they're the same thing. I will do it from the low E as the root, and I'll just keep it simple. And that's how you do. You got to add slowly to your guitar toolbox. All right, so let's hop over to my guitar. We'll wrap this up. Again, the more interaction, the better. And let's keep this thing going. Music Theory Monday number 5, and I'll drop the next one next Monday for number 6. Love doing this stuff for you guys. Here we go. Let's play my son's Mustang because he's with me this week. This thing is sick, but he's probably gonna charge me when he sees this video, if he sees it. Now, right here's that chart. Page 2, you can get all these linked in the description. Just go back and watch, keep connecting the dots through this whole series I'm putting out on Mondays. I'll do a bunch of videos, one-offs, that are gonna just connect the dots even further, making music, all right? So if you look at the bottom, we highlighted in gray, B Mixolydian scale. And what I'm actually gonna do, I'm gonna run it from the low E. So it's kind of like the pattern. I'll do a video on this, so don't worry. So look, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, and there's B. What you can do is you can take your phone if you don't have a looper pedal, or you can just take your guitar and do something like this. I'm gonna do an E. I have a looper pedal down here to a C sharp minor, okay? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the B Mixolydian scale and I'm going to use my ears and try and create music over that. So listen, here's the E to C sharp minor. E to C sharp minor. Now here's the scale, watch. So what did I do there? I just played part of the scale. Less is more. Just play one note. Let it ring. Work on your phrasing. Work on your musicality. That's why we're doing all this. But now you have a little knowledge. I want you to connect the dots and know, oh, if I'm playing B Mixolydian, I'm playing it's the E major scale. It's just starting from the B, okay? Now, again, light bulb moments, aha moments. I did a video on this. Remember how C sharp? Let's just throw another thing in there for you. If you're a beginner, take part of this. Take one piece of it. Whatever your skill level, take the whole enchilada if you can get it. Look, if you got the C sharp minor pentatonic, which is what? The relative minor, okay? The 6th chord. Inside of that, look, an extension off of this Mixolydian scale. Right here, you have, starting on the G, what is it? That's the E major scale, look. Shank, but look, that's all it is. So watch, let's kind of blend all of that. Connect the dots even further. Watch. Octaves. much it. So I want you to take some piece of what I gave you today, and I want you to connect it to another piece of information I've given you in other videos, or perhaps you just had a light bulb moment and you're gonna connect this and build it out. That's all music is. We're just connecting dots. We're having light bulb moments. It happens for me. I played over 30 years and I'll still have something. Half of me is kicking myself. Has this happened to you? Just drop it in the comments. I'll be kicking myself. Why didn't I see this 20 years ago? But on the flip side, I'm like, this is amazing too, that you just keep having discoveries on guitar. I was talking to a buddy, you know what, in life and guitar, you're only competing against one person. You're competing against yourself. So on that note, keep going, grab those charts, let me know, share this. I want to get as many people in the community as we can for these Music Theory Monday videos and all of our videos. You guys are awesome. Don't stop, keep going, grab the charts, drop the like. You guys know the drill on YouTube. What'd you think of this little Mustang? I gotta say, this is a 24-inch scale length. These things are insanely awesome. All right, see you in the next video. Later.